is flux. The changer of ways underlies all, is all. So fear not this battle. Win or lose, it is the plan.
The entity known as the Changeling, also called the Perplexing Prankster, Deceiving Horror, and Tzeentch's Trickster, is a demon unlike any other. In the hierarchy of chaos, it is counted the greatest of the Lord of Change's lesser servants, a being that personifies the meddlesome and deceitful aspect of the Changer of Ways himself. Its form is endlessly mutable. The Changeling can assume the shape of virtually any creature or being, from the most insignificant insect to the mightiest Greater Daemon of the Warp. Indeed, none can say what the Changeling's true visage might be, for it is ever masked and robed when rarely seen in its own shape. Perhaps even the Changeling has forgotten its original form. So protean is its existence. It mimics flesh, voice, and persona with uncanny perfection, able to duplicate not just appearances, but the mannerisms and temperaments of its targets so faultlessly that even gods have been fooled by its impersonations. Only one being is said to be immune to this mimicry: the great god Tzeentch himself, whom the Changeling dare not and cannot duplicate. For the architect of fate allows no thief, even his favored trickster, to steal his shape.
Such mischief and mayhem could only be caused by the slyest of pranksters. Reveling in the beautiful discord he has sown, the Changeling believes he is the ultimate trickster. Yet, he himself is the one being played. For it is the great god Tzeentch who is the true master schemer.
Such an ability to deceive so thoroughly makes the Changeling an object of both terror and fascination among scholars of the arcane. And in this lore exploration, we will learn more about this intriguing and unique creature of the warp. By all accounts, the Changeling is driven not by base hunger or martial pride, but by an insatiable impulse for mischief and manipulation. This demon exists to enact elaborate pranks and cruel deceits upon anyone and everyone around it. Unlike many of its fellow demons, the Changeling often acts without explicit instruction. Tzeentch, the great schemer, seldom gives his trickster demon direct orders. Instead, the Changeling wanders freely through eternity, meddling wherever it pleases, while Tzeentch looks on in amusement. Each act of treachery or confusion the Changeling spawns creates new threads of possibility in the ever-shifting tapestry of fate, which only adds more options to Tzeentch's cosmic great game of divine rivalry. In this way, the demon's motivations seem twofold. It serves its patron's grand design by seeding chaos, yet it also pursues its own delight in disorder, like an artist reveling in its art.
With a flair for mayhem and an eye for trouble, the Changeling leaves a trail of chaos in his wake. Each prank to be savored. as he weaves his tapestry of despair, watching as the mighty fall by their own hand. The trickster's schemes spare no fate. Let the games begin.
Even in the immortal realms of chaos, the Changeling's mischief is legendary. Demonologists record numerous profane anecdotes of the trickster's exploits against the other chaos powers and their servants. Tales so outrageous they would be unbelievable were they not corroborated by the fury of their victims. And these are among the most notorious of these deceptions. In one infamous escapade, the Changeling infiltrated the palace of Slaanesh, the Dark Prince, by disguising itself as a harmless demonette handmaiden. It then stole the sacred silver apples of knowledge straight from Slaanesh's own orchard and fled into the night. For pure spite, the Changeling carried these stolen fruit into the realm of Grandfather Nurgle, masquerading as a plague-bearer to slip them into Nurgle's grotesque garden. There, it abandoned the apples to rot amidst the fetid undergrowth, simply to spark enmity between the rival ruinous powers. When Slaanesh discovered the theft, the Dark Prince was incensed and accused Nurgle of perfidy. Nurgle, in turn, believes Slaanesh's accusation to be a pretext for invasion.
I beheld it in a nightmare, and even now the memory festers. The air reeked of cloying perfume and rotting flesh, as hosts of demons clashed in splendor beneath a sky of bleeding light. Horrifying pink and purple fiends swept forth in waves, the laughter sharp as razors, clad in silks that slithered like living things. From the Plague Father's festering groves rose bloated monstrosities, their pus-drenched limbs dragging rusted blades through the muck, singing hymns of decay. Flesh was burst, ichor flowed in obscene torrents, as keepers of secrets danced through clouds of plague flies, and great unclean ones vomited pestilence upon glittering chariots. The earth quaked with fury as hatred found form in war. Yet no banner bore the mark of the trickster who had kindled the fire. I woke up sweating and screaming, the scent of rot and musk still in my lungs.
And thus did two chaos gods march to war against each other over a staged betrayal, each too enraged to see the Changeling's hand at work. The Changeling has never spared Khorne, the blood god, from its jests. On one occasion, the prankster crept into the kennels of Khorne in the guise of a lesser demon and stole several of Khorne's brass collars of dominion from the necks of many of his flesh hounds. It then melted down these collars and reforged them into hideous brass figurines, depicting Khorne's most ignominious defeats, an insult crafted from the blood god's own treasured artifacts. In another incident, the Changeling sealed shut the mighty brass gates of Khorne's citadel, while the war god was absent on some bloody campaign. When Khorne returned to his fortress, he found the doors barred, and was forced to smash his way into his own keep, shattering his proud gates in a display of otherworldly wrath. Such brazen offenses only further inflamed the blood god's eternal anger. Not even Slaanesh is considered to be safe from the Trickster's reach. It is said the Changeling once crept to the silken bedchamber of the Lord of Excess, and while Slaanesh lay in decadent slumber, cut away a great lock of the god's lustrous hair. This divine tress the Changeling wove into an enchanted cloak of shimmering glamour, which it later presented, through Tzeentch's machinations, as a gift to the mortal sorcerer Agram van Horstman, a mighty follower of the god of change. Thus a powerful chaos champion was rewarded with a relic literally made from a god's stolen glory. When Slaanesh awoke to find his radiant locks shorn, his scream of outrage shook the palace of pleasure. But of the culprit, there was no sign, beyond mocking laughter echoing in the wood. Each of these outrageous tricks was eventually discovered, for the Changeling wants its victims to know they have been duped, because part of the demon's cruel delight is to leave its targets aware of the deception, yet powerless to exact revenge. It is little wonder, then, that the other Chaos Gods burn with hatred for the Changeling. Khorne rages for its skull, Nurgle drools for its ruin, and Slaanesh lusts for cruel retribution. Yet somehow, the shapeshifter always evades capture, slipping out of their grasp with a cackle, as the ruinous powers turn on one another in frustration.
Let the game begin.
Deception is the Changeling's chief weapon. Through cunning shapeshifting and arcane sorcery, it infiltrates the courts of chaos and the kingdoms of mortals alike. It will impersonate messengers, advisors, and generals to sow misinformation and misdirection, turning allies against one another and undermining strategies before a battle has even begun. With malevolent glee, it subverts plans and incites strife. A forged letter here, a whispered lie there, watching entire realms unravel from a single subtle falsehood. When open conflict finally erupts, often as a result of its scheming, the Changeling does not shy away from the fight. Rather, it takes on the shape and skills of the mightiest champion on the field, using an enemy's own strength against them in combat. The Changeling's penchant for trickery is not confined to the realm of chaos. It has also offered some of the most audacious deceptions in mortal history. Scattered through the annals of various cultures are baffling incidents and calamities that, in hindsight, bear the unmistakable mark of Tzeentch's Trickster. These are a few of the most notable cases. In the year 703 of the Imperial calendar, the hidden hand of the Changeling orchestrated a dire confrontation in the jungles of Lustria. The demon assumed the form of the ancient Lich King, Arkan the Black, and under that guise struck a pact with a coven of necrarch vampires, promising them forbidden sorceries beyond their wildest dreams. The false Arkan convinced the vampires to launch an assault on the Lizardman Temple City of Tlangsla. As undead legions and reptilian warriors clashed bitterly, the Changeling's own demonic servants slipped into the weakened city vaults and the reserves of the vampire lords, plundering priceless artifacts from both armies amidst the chaos. By the time the battle had ended in stalemate, the trickster had absconded with countless treasures. Only after the fact did the Necroc vampires realize that they had been fighting for nothing, their riches devoured by the demons of Tzeentch. In more recent centuries, the Changeling's meddling nearly claimed the life of one of the mightiest sorceresses. In the year 2522 of the imperial calendar, as Queen Morathi conducted a dark ritual at the wretched altar to summon and enslave the two-headed demon known as Fate Weaver, the Changeling infiltrated her coven. At the climax of Morathi's incantation, the Changeling subtly mispronounced a single syllable in the spell, an almost imperceptible error that corrupted the entire ritual. In an instant, the summoned chaos magic went awry. A host of unbound demons tore into reality and possessed Morathi's own acolytes, turning the summoning chamber into a bloody arena of survival. A furious battle erupted at the altar, and though Morathi herself narrowly escaped with her life, her designs were thoroughly thwarted. The Changeling had, with one whispered twist of a word, unraveled the Witch Queen's plan, and nearly claimed her soul in the ensuing pandemonium. Throughout all these ruses, the Changeling maintains an aura of eerie whimsy. It does not sow chaos for any simple gain or conquest, but for the sheer sport of the deception. There is a capricious, almost playful quality to its malice. It confounds and corrupts as an entertainer might perform a show, albeit one written in blood and lies.
As the winds of change begin to stir, faint echoes can be heard. Carried on the breeze comes mocking laughter.
What then is the ultimate purpose of the Changeling's ceaseless treachery? Imperial scholars and forbidden tomes offer only conjecture, for who can chart the labyrinthine designs of Tzeentch, the Changer of Ways? Some argue that the Changeling is nothing more than a whimsical agent of chaos. Its every prank a random whimsy, intended to feed on turmoil and surprise. In this view, the creature's mischief simply exemplifies chaos undivided, disruption for its own sake, with the Changeling acting as a living embodiment of Tzeentch's love of change and upheaval without pattern. Certainly, Tzeentch himself often boasts of the Changeling's deeds as though they were sport, delighting in the new struggles and possibilities each act of sabotage creates. The discord of conflict that the Changeling spreads is pleasing to the Lord of Sorcery. For from strife arises opportunity, mutation, and fateful change. In this sense, every lie told and every alliance broken by the Changeling serves to further Tzeentch's dominion over the ever-shifting form of destiny. Yet other sages argue that there is a deeper and more calculated design at work. They note that while the Changeling often acts independently, on rare occasions, Tzeentch does guide his trickster servant's hand directly. When the Changer of Ways sees a crucial strand in the weave of fate that must be plucked, or a troublesome enemy whose plans require unraveling, who better to send than his shape-shifting master of misrule? In these moments, the Changeling may enact a specific stratagem of Tzeentch's, toppling carefully chosen dominoes to ensure the future unfolds according to the Grand Schemer's will. Some apocryphal accounts even claim the Changeling has been used to manipulate gods beyond the Chaos Pantheon, or to undermine extraneous powers, all to clear the board for Tzeentch's ascendancy, though such claims verge on heresy to record. What is clear is that the Changeling's existence perfectly serves Tzeentch's ends. It introduces uncertainty and discord everywhere it goes, and from that fertile chaos, Tzeentch reaps new plots and possibilities. For the servants of the Empire, and all who would oppose chaos, perhaps the only consolation is this. The Changeling's pranks and plots, for all their devastation, are but threads woven into Tzeentch's greater puzzle of fate. And though that puzzle is maddeningly complex, knowledge of the Trickster's modus operandi at least offers a slender hope that we might discern its pattern. Forewarned is forearmed, as they say, and against a foe who could be anyone, a healthy dose of paranoia may be the only defense. Let this treatise serve as both archive and admonition, for the Changeling's shadow lies behind many a throne and altar. And only the vigilant mind can hope to catch the great deceiver in the act. We thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the maddening depths of chaos, then consider supporting the channel on Patreon, or by becoming a YouTube channel member. You'll gain early access to future videos, entry to our private Discord server, and more. Your support helps us make more content more often. And if you'd like to learn more about another Herald of Chaos, then why don't you check out our lore exploration on Epidemius, the Talisman of Nurgle. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one.